Shoulder hook the anchovy.
Collar.
Hook is great. I collar hook them. I will butt hook the bigger anchovies sometimes if it's like bluefin or in the boat. But anchovies are very gentle and very weak, so I do the collar hook.
Meat to hook it.
And there's not much meat, and I don't even use the Spectra for anchovies. I use 15 or 20 pound mono and a little newel and like an old Parnell or something like that. Like I still fish it that way. But that's just me. But I still use mono for anchovies. Yeah, that's about it. Drops and stuff like that. Please.
Totally separate topic. I mean, you're well connected and talking to people all the time. What is your take on next year's season?
Well, it's hard to say, but I do know this. We're in a cold water cycle, right? So in the 90s, when I first started working on boats, it was hot water, early bluefin, and then just slam dunk yellowfin fishing, yellowtail, dorado. We're not going to get that style of fishing in terms of El Nino fishing, but everything just depends on conditions and water and how things set up. And we're in this cold water cycle, and there's been a lot of, I call them like blockers, like a lot of cold water walls along the coast and stuff. The years we get the best yellowtail fishing, and we get yellows at Clemente and Catalina and all that stuff, is when there's good blue 59 to 62 degree water for the yellows to march up in the spring. Do you guys remember the first year that albacore returned in '97? Do you remember how good the yellowtail fishing was in April? There was like 20 overnight boats running every day, going down the beach to like Pescador or above Todo Santo somewhere, trolling Rapalas and looking for breezers, and everyone was getting limits. And then the albacore showed up. It was just an incredible season, especially to be a boat owner. We just haven't had that path of good water lately. So it's hard to say, but it does seem like something always fills in the gap. Like early season this year, we thought offshore we were going to be toast, and that bluefin came in. So it seems like something always kind of fills in the thing. Last year, not this year, like last year, remember there was only tuna for like 3 weeks on the hidden bank, and it started over Labor Day, like when most people had put the boats away is when we got the first little window. But there was incredible local yellowtail and white sea bass on squid along San Diego County. I was catching sea bass in November last year. I caught a 61 pounder in like the middle of October. Like I never remember getting fall sea bass before. So, and now they're nowhere to be around locally, the sea bass. So that was like last year. So you just kind of take what you get, but I definitely think we're in this cold water cycle, and that means bluefin and albacore offshore, and hopefully better water conditions and you get the yellows. We just haven't had the yellows at Catalina and Clemente, and you need that for like your freelance and your pursuit and all that other.
And there's been a lot of squid
A lot of squid. So I'd be ready for cold water fishing, and I think that if anything, the last few years, we were very spoiled in the late 90s, early 2000s. I mean, I'm not going, they didn't get limits of albacore, I'm not going on an overnight of a prowler. They only got 90. Oh, God. Now, if the prowler got 90 albacore in June, like, just freaking out. Look what happened when the bluefin showed up. For that first 3 weeks, you couldn't get on a boat. People had the bluefin fever. So, I think that's going to kind of be the way it is. Interesting thing too is that this time of year there's almost no coverage, and the boats that are fishing are doing what you did on the Pacific Voyager and going down the beach 140 miles and fishing above San Martin somewhere. But outside the dumper, there's huge bluefin right now. The boat that connected on them that everyone heard about was the Cortez. So last Thursday, a week ago today, they had 7 or 9 bluefin from 40 to 70. But nobody heard the story of last weekend. Cortez was on a 2.5 day again. So first day, catch puny yellowtail and dorados and whatever else. Second day, go out west. The guy that runs the Cortez, he loves fishing out to the west. He's famous for it amongst the captains and stuff like that. So he went outside the dumping grounds where he caught these bluefin on Thursday. He told one other boat about it, the Limitless, which runs out of Newport now. Limitless is coming down like this. The Cortez is like this. Limitless is 4 miles from Cortez and finds a big breezer, big bluefin on the surface. There's 4 guys, they got 16 from 50 to 90 pounds. 4 guys in October. the Cortez goes, oh, I think I'm gonna go that way. So they turn and start bending up that way. They find a breezer, and they got 52 bluefin from 30 to 40 something pounds. If that was going on in August, there'd be 15 boats out there, but it's October, and no one's been out there in 5 days. Yeah, yeah. So, it's just kind of depends on coverage and stuff like that, you know?
Big ocean.
Sorry?
Big ocean.
Huge ocean, and it's almost amazing they find stuff to begin with if you look at the vastness, you know? So, that's kind of a bit.
I was just going to comment, the scientists at Scripps do their annual prediction, I think it's December, for the sport issue.
Okay.
You know, I mean, listen out for our news, we're publishing, so we'll look at what they're predicting.
Yep.
And that comes out every December.
Okay.
That answers.
Okay, yeah. Yeah. I do know that Barbara Block, she's the bluefin lady, she's a professor at Stanford. They charter the Shogun and they get the fish from the Monterey Bay Aquarium. She's studied the bluefin, the Pacific stock of bluefin and the Eastern Atlantic stock of bluefin. And she said, she told me that next year is going to be a banner bluefin year if it doesn't all get wrapped. Because we had so much of that 12 to 15 pounders, and next year it'll be perfect, like 35, 40 pounds, like landable, big, and fun. So we kind of have that to look forward to. Hopefully. Hopefully.
But those are like 2.5 day trips
For this
what
time
you
of
just
year,
talked about?
the big bluefin?
Yeah.
Well, you could do, if you were a charter group and you said, Captain, we want to go fish bluefin, we don't care about yellowtail, you could do it. But it's hard to do that on an open party trip because there was another boat that went out there. The Legend went last Sunday night and they caught 5 fish. And you can't make people happy if you catch 5 fish. If you go out there and get bluefin, you're a hero. If you get the 5, then it's like, everyone else got limits to yellowtail, 7 Dorado, 2 bluefin, and a yellowfin, and we got 5 fish. So it puts the owner-operators in a tough spot, you know? There's slam dunk fishing down the coast, or there's this little kind of area of fish that 2 boats have made scores on. So
When those big Humboldt squid show up, do you think that affects the fishing?
I have no idea. I'm not an expert. I think my own personal opinion, which could be 100% wrong, I think everything burrows down and is scared and is kind of freaked out by it. But if you talk to a guy that works on I mean, we had this, for that little 4-day, 5-day period, they were like the little ones. Like, it's like bait for big fish, you know what I mean? But remember the 40 pounders a few years ago? But the guys that run Twilights say that when they cut those things, they never cut them open and find bass and rockfish and all that other stuff in them. It's not like you open it up, it's like, oh my God, this one squid had 7 sand bass in it. So I really don't know. It can't be good, right? And
2 fingers and a...
yeah, if I was a fish this big and I saw these big sea monsters shooting around, I would hang out in my rock and not be going into shutdown modes, you know? Good question.
I can make a good comment on that one. Now, 2 years ago, when those big guys were here, or 3 years ago,
Yep.
I was fishing Newport Bay with a friend.
Okay.
We were in the main turning basin by the Dukes, right there, kind of in the middle over on the west side.
Yep.
And my friend hooked a spotty, and I thought it was a sea lion that flashed on it. You know, I went that came back and ate his spotty, and it was one of the giant squid.
Yeah.
I mean, and these small ones that were just here,
Yep.
there were people that talked about them being, they were jigging them all the way up at the Lido Bridge.
Okay. Really? Oh wow.
So,
That was strange that there was this big influx for like 4 days and then it was just gone. Oof. Interesting. Yeah, off the piers and everything. I live in San Clemente. I walked down this. My in-laws are in town, so we went down there and watched the squid show one night.
8 to 10 pointers.
Yeah.
Another couple months will be 30 before.
Yeah, devouring. So, are there any more
Did you
questions?
try to get him to go swimming?
No. No, my wife is German, so my in-laws are from Germany, so they don't get my sarcasm, my dry sense of humor that I'm able to employ on you guys. So. I play both. Yeah.
Is there any putting Spectra on my trolling rod?
Spectra on trolling rod, I'm going to say no, and I'm going to say no because there's certain applications where you want some stretch. Trolling is one of them because outboard, yellowfin, whatever is going to troll strike. you have boat moving at 7 knots, fish hitting and going this way, and with Spectra there's no stretch and it's easy to rip those hooks out on the troll. So I would not do it. It'd be okay to fill it up with Spectra and then have a 2 boat length top shot of mono or something like that, so you get a little bit of that stretch. But on the troller, I'm going to say no.
What about for water? Change the wire up. No stretch.
Trolling for Wahoo, I have done it before with straight Spectra, and I think that might be something that is an exception because Wahoo have very, very strong mouths, and Wahoo hit things from the side, like a dog eating a bone, so you need to pull through the fish's mouth. So for that application, possible. So, just real quick, guys, any more? Anyone? Well, thank you. Thank you, Brent. Give it a whirl.
Winner.
It works. If you ever catch a great fish or you go on one of your charters, send me an email. My email is right at the masthead, page 4 of Western Outdoor News. Love to put your pictures in. And I also, I've written a couple books on Southern California sport fishing. This is the most recent one. It's called Getting Bit, and essentially like what we just went over is like 1/50th of the book. So there's a topic on fishing short top shots, the kelp cutter rig. There's a lot of local stuff, a fair amount of long range. It's real heavy on sea bass info for local guys. I got some Catalina stuff in here. I got squid and balloons, local fishing, squid and balloon. My friend Greg, I caught these, he's holding them, by the way. But we get these massive sea bass on the squid and balloon and the mackerel and balloon. So there's stuff on that. That's the October one I got, that was 61. Thought I'd never beat it, and I got 62 this year. It's incredible. And so there's a lot of, it's all color, a lot of big fish. Greg with the 60, Barry with one that's almost 60. So a lot of sea bass stuff, a little bit about calico bass and stuff, but that's not really my specialty. A lot of tuna stuff, yellowtail. There's a whole section on tackling techniques that goes over the kelp cutter rig, and here's the, so essentially the seminar we just did covers this much of the book. So we kind of touched on it. So there's 50 unique topics. It's all color.
How long did it take you to write it?
This one, well, this one not so long because about 60% of it is my past columns, tackle room columns, that have been kind of buffed up and revamped, and the other 40%, 45% is all new stuff. So this one was short. This one took like 3 or 4 months. Other book took longer because it was my first one and stuff like that. But if you go to a tackle shop or you get it on our website, it's $29.99. But if you guys want to buy one, $20. Make a good Christmas present. And I got a mortgage. I got a dog. My wife is pregnant. Oh, my wife is in grad school, so it's just me making income. So charity case, Christmas gift, birthday.
Your in-laws came too.
In-laws coming always costs $1,000 sometimes. So in all seriousness,
Yeah, 55 days of long range fishing too.
yeah, crew tip, permits, fuel surcharge. So in all seriousness, thanks a lot for having me. You guys are a great group. I love coming and doing these things. I'm not a real big public speaker and hear myself talk, but I really like doing it, well, but mainly because you guys are like the heart and soul of our fishing community, and it's great to just go to the different clubs, meet the different people, see people that live the lifestyle, and just love to fish and think about it all the time. So we're a lucky bunch to have what we have in Southern California. We're definitely blessed. So.
One last question. You were talking to someone the other day, and you said you had a bump on your leg. So how'd that happen?
Oh. So I'm gonna admit it. I'm kind of addicted to the white sea bass fishing. I like to catch them, and I don't have a lot of angling goals, but I would like to catch a 70-pounder in my fishing career. I'll live if I don't, but I would like to really do that at some point. And so there's been this great sea bass fight going on in Monterey Bay, and I've never been up there before, and there's nothing going on local here. So we trailered my friend's boat up there, went to Monterey Bay, and we're thinking, we're going to get a lot of sea bass on this trip. This is going to be really good because they're biting. And we were there for 2 days. It was supposed to be 3. We were there for 2. The first day, this is a whole other seminar, but in short, they fish them a lot different than we fish them here. They drift for them. They mooch them like salmon. They use 20-pound tests. They fish in like 150 feet of water. They do not anchor. My friend, it gets back to this whole adjusting to things. He is very set in his ways, and it's his boat, and I'm not going to tell him otherwise. He wants to anchor. Okay? I had met a local the night before. He said, here's my phone number. I'll talk to you and give you some info and help you out. Local calls. They are biting inside of you. You are anchored. You must come here. The winch on the anchor doesn't work. So finally get in there. We see a sea bass get gaffed, and that was it. And almost every, put it this way, the local said, he called me up in the day and said, how many did you guys get? I said, we didn't get any. He's like, well, I don't know you. No disrespect, but how could you not catch one? Everyone got at least one. And then the next day they did not bite. Long-winded story. My friend caught a bat ray. We picked it up out of the water, and I was not thinking. And right here into my shin, bat ray has a big stinger like this. It went deep. Like, picture that's the stinger. Yeah. So I cleaned it up, and a week went by, and it looked fine. It looked like a cut, like someone stuck me, but I didn't think I needed to go to the doctor or something. And then Sunday night, it got kind of red, and I went into work Monday, and it just started bothering me, and then I looked at it, I was like, oh my goodness, just red and swelled up. So it might be a staph or some sort of fish poisoning. We're not totally sure yet, but it is healing, and I have some very heavy-duty antibiotics and such, so the infection is going down, it's not coming up, so that's good. That's a good thing. Yeah. Thank you.